Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yeah, in the previous video we were fixing a lot of bugs, and I actually just realized that video stopped at a crucial part where I believe you needed a lot of help. My advice to you is that do not head going into bugs. This is something that you are gonna run into every single day, and you should not be afraid. You should not be intimidated about it, because 90% you're gonna be running into a bug, and at times you'll fix it and not actually even know. Sometimes know, or sometimes do not know why how it was resolved. But do not be afraid. Do not be intimidated. Always reach out and seek help when you are stuck, and use Google as well. But in this case, I realized the video was gonna be too long, and had to cut it short in order to facilitate you guys, to make a series out of it. And in this case, so the issue was about the menu, whereby actually the main menu, get any logo, icon that you want from here, so animated ones, and then pretty then you can just go ahead and download that and then add them into your images directory. So when you have these two images, and take note of this class, okay? So when we get into, I'll go ahead and split these. We don't need that. Okay, so in we only need this. Okay, we're gonna need this class in two areas. Okay, so initially this is the mobile. Whenever you see the purple curly brackets, just excuse me guys, sorry about that. So when you see these ones, just take note that I'm gonna be in the mobile CSS, under the media queries. So when you see the yellow ones, then we shall be in the desktop version. So what I did is that when we're on a desktop size, we are saying that we don't want to see that section that has those two images, okay? But when we get into the mobile, then we're changing that display to flex, all right? And then we are centering those if I go ahead, background, we want to see just go ahead and give it any color, okay? So if we give it red, I normally use red for testing background, okay? No, that's not where we intend. Our main intention is that the header, okay, somewhere at the header. So let's see. Okay, it looks like things are pretty much centered, okay? So we going back here, we actually don't need to position this one, but feel free to position it like as it was, if on your end things make more sense that way. And still the logic won't change that much, okay? So if we our logic here is to change this to none, okay? And you'll see why we're doing that. So now I'm gonna go ahead and pretty much close this, because now we know we just you know, we just got these two images. I'll come back to it later on. So right now we're getting into more fun stuff. Okay, pay attention here. This is where JavaScript comes in. Okay, and if we open, I prefer the JavaScript being on the other end so that we can we don't need your body. So okay, here we are. So take note, the close icon is pretty much hidden in the background. Okay, and our logic here honestly is we're just going to use JavaScript to change the display, the styling, the attribute that is appended to this close icon and display it to flex. Okay, so that's pretty much the logic here. Okay, and let's see how we're gonna do that. Okay, so you remember the icons. The hamburger icon was its ID was hamburger icon. Okay, and then I'm gonna give it a name. I'm using JavaScript ES6 plus. So I'm literally saying let the giving it a name, menu icon, then I'm getting the ID to that ID, which is okay, just this ID. Okay, and then I'm getting into the JavaScript, and let's go back to JavaScript. So to the menu close, and then getting ID hamburger close, and then now I want to pull up this menu that is not initially showing. Okay, this menu I want to get access to it. Why do I want to get access to it? Because initially this menu, I'm literally hiding it as well. The same logic we're using on the icons. Okay, so I'm saying const menu list. So okay, if you know JavaScript ES6, what happens is that right now this used to be the var, and so whenever you use let, you're literally using it to anything that is like a variable, anything that can change. Okay, so yeah, pretty much. And then const is like a constant. There's a naming convention to this because, you know, constants, if you come from Java, you know this, so there's a way you name constants, and but you know, let's I'll stick to this, and let's move forward. Okay, so let me access the menu, and then the menu document get element by ID, our menu. So if we go ahead in here and look for our menu in our CSS, okay, let me see. So the menu, okay, yeah, so we want it in our okay, we need to style it. Okay, so yeah, we are getting the menu in the DOM, which is right around here. Okay, we're getting this menu that has all these items. We want to get access to it, and the client, these ones. Okay, those buttons. I believe I changed this. It wasn't initially buttons, but yeah, go ahead and just change them to buttons. Okay, and yeah, so we're getting the client login, and we're getting the menu list. Okay, and then we're saying that menu icon. Okay, menu icon, which is the hamburger, and we're adding an event listener. Okay, and the event listener, the type of the event listener, so this this function takes two variables. Okay, so the type of listener, and then the function that is gonna execute what you want you know, that event to do. Make sense? Okay, it will, I'm pretty sure. So we are saying the menu icon, the hamburger, if a user clicks on that hamburger, listen. Okay, so we're saying that, so listen to any clicks the user performs on the menu icon, which is the hamburger, and then if you listen that they have done that, then execute this function, and that function should take a parameter or an argument, which is an event. This can be any later, but it's you're trying to say event, you can call it and yeah, so this is an event, which is like an argument. So normally you would use this argument when you are creating like getting data from an input. So let's say you're getting let's say somebody entered a name, and then you want to get the value of that name from the input box. So that's when you use much of this event. But sometimes you could even use an arrow function, but I wanted to keep things simple for those who come from different programming languages. So, and then what we're saying is that execute this function. Notice where this is ending. So you notice that everything is inside. These are like two parameters. Alternatively, you could create this function outside, right around here, and then just call that function in here. It's pretty much the same. Okay, so, and then moving on, we're saying that if this menu icon is clicked, so execute this function, execute this. So we're saying that menu icon should change its style. So normally when you're adding CSS in JavaScript, you need to first use the style. Okay, so we're saying that just like you use style in HTML, style, you open up and then you close. So here you're saying that menu, if I open up here, if our hamburger is just around here, so we're getting this ID, adding a new style to it, and we're saying change that display to none. Right, we're saying change that display to none. Okay, and then we're saying that this second button that is in the background, change its display to flex. We're literally just playing around. Okay, change its display to flex. Then now moving on, we're using the same ID, same knowledge to oh, one thing I missed. Oh, the menu list. So this menu list, okay, it's in display none. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, so it should be in display none somewhere. Do we have, okay, do we have an ID for that? Oh, okay, it's the menu is the unordered list, the list inside this very list. So these very lists. So we gave it a, let's see, and here we are. Okay, here. Okay, so it's pretty much the same thing. So let me change the ID so that it makes more sense and it's easy to identify. So I had just explicitly accessed it with the tag, but yeah, this should make more sense and it still works. Okay, something broke. Is there an issue? It's still the same. Let's see. That's weird. This should be none. Let's take it back to none. And we want to see why the unordered list should. Is there any other menu in there? I think the page just needed to be refreshed. Okay, yeah, it still works. Okay, it still works. All right, so we are seeing when we go back to our JavaScript, what we're doing is that now we're changing this menu to display to flex. It was initially none. We're just playing around with this with the DOM. Then we're changing it to flex. And then the client login, that's the ID. Client login, it has a different class. Don't worry about the names. Client login, so that's the ID. I'm using the ID in JavaScript and I'm using the class in CSS. That's how flexible you should be, my friends. So it's still the same thing. So it's in display none, and when I get the ID from the HTML, pretty much that this sometimes is not good because other programmers would not be able to read your code. So if you want to be coherent, just go all in coherent. If you're using classes, use classes. If you're using IDs, use IDs, or else if IDs are you're more comfortable with IDs, then do something like this: add a class and an ID and use them. That way, when somebody is looking up your code in CSS, they can easily look up that class, or or they can easily look up the ID. But sometimes what you're gonna do is use the query selector and reach your goals. Okay. All right. Moving on, my friends. So we've now the user is able to click this and everything is just turning to flex, and we don't the hamburger is turning to none, and then we're gonna do vice versa. So now the menu icon is open. It's right now we're at this step. So right now this is what we executed and this is able to show. Okay, and the next step is now getting, if the user clicks on this, because right now the other one is not existing anymore, this is not in the DOM anymore. So if the user clicks on this, which is now in front, because now it's at a z index of 0, but this one now is not there, so the user won't click on the hamburger icon anymore because it's not there. It's gone. All right, so now the user is going to be able to click on the menu icon, close, and then we're going to do the opposite. The hamburger will show up again, and then the close icon will hide, and then the menu list will hide as well, and then the client login will also hide. So for this, normally you would add them in the same div. That way you don't need to write 2 lines of code. But in this case, that's what we did, and it shouldn't be an issue. So you could also add them under one div section and be able to manipulate them in just 1 line of code. That's awesome. That's the JavaScript that we needed for this case, and yeah, that should be our project complete. All right, if you want to pause and take a look into all the JavaScript, so this is the JavaScript. Feel free to pause and take a look into that, and then this is our this is our CSS. Okay, one thing I want to pay attention, I want to see if we do have is something I noticed. This is why I like coding these very projects live, okay? Because you get to see a lot of birds, okay? So it looks like in the mobile we have this, but in when this displays, so we don't see this menu anymore, and that's not good. What we're gonna do in this case, we know that's or you can go ahead on your end and fix that, and then we shall be able to fix that, okay? In this case, if we look at so this and this. Hello guys. Hello guys, that was a lot to take in. That was really interesting. We were able to learn so much. If you really have questions, please go ahead and comment down in the comment section below, and feel free to ask anything. I make sure and I try my best to reach out to everybody who comments, and try to answer their questions. But besides that, please go ahead and take a split second to just click that subscribe button, and also please don't forget the bell icon. That way you can get a notification when I upload something new. In that case, I'm so grateful to have worked with you guys, and it was really exciting, and I enjoyed working with the birds. Please always do not hate working with bugs, because they make you better. Whenever you get into a situation and you go over it and you fix it, that's the most satisfying moment of all. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you're able to submit it at Frontend Mentor. I'm pretty sure your colleagues and peers will appreciate you. And also, please go ahead and list this project on your portfolio. Just make sure to mention Frontend Mentor as the source of that project. That way, you do not violate their policies. It was great working with you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.